politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. This morning, we are discussing Tinubunomics, the economic application of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of Nigeria, in the light of the latest development, where on Tuesday, the Naira falls to the all-time low of 1,482 Naira 57 kobo to one United States dollar in the official market. It was an alarm bell to show the dire strait of Nigeria's economy. And the big question is, how can Nigerians survive in the present state of the Naira under the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? What is the hope? What is the future of the Naira? And more importantly, the future of Nigerians who operate and live their lives using the Naira and, of course, the dollar, because Nigeria is an import-dependent nation. As a result, most of the things that are produced in Nigeria, most of the things we use in Nigeria are imported. So Nigeria is an import-dependent nation. Virtually 90 to 95% of what is used by households in Nigeria are imported. So the value of the Naira to the dollar matters a lot. And when you hear that hardship has increased in Nigeria, it is largely because of this import dependence that Nigeria is passing through this situation, because we are an import-dependent nation. So the Naira and the dollar value matters a lot to the ordinary man in the street, to the businessman, to all Nigerians. Now, the alarm bell rang again on Tuesday when the Naira continued its free fall, sinking to a record low of 1,482 Naira 57 kobo to one American dollar, following strong demand on the official market, also known as NAFEM. Now, this plunge of the Naira was despite the current moves by the Central Bank of Nigeria to address the backlog of verified foreign exchange transactions, and the latest being the Central Bank of Nigeria's alleged conclusion of the payment of all verified claims by airlines with additional $64.44 million to the concerned airlines. But that is just scratching the surface. Don't forget that the Nigerian government is owing foreign airlines $800 million. $800 million. They're just barely 17% of what is owed foreign airlines is what the central bank have been able to settle so far, despite all their claim that they have concluded everything on that. It is not true. Central Bank of Nigeria is owing foreign airlines $800 million. They have succeeded in paying only 17% of that money. Now, the whole situation is also worsened by the statement coming out from the mouth of the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, when he said recently that the Naira is undervalued. He said that the Naira is undervalued. But by that, by floating the Naira, it means that he is not supposed to be lamenting about the state of the Naira. Whether Naira is undervalued, is immaterial, because under the program that he is running with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is demand and supply that should determine the value of the Naira. So it's no longer a question of whether the Naira is weak, is undervalued or overvalued. The market determines the value of the Naira. That is the truth of the matter. The market determines the value of the Naira. That is what they were looking for when they began to float the Naira in June 2023. They ought to have known that demand and supply will now determine the state of the Naira and nothing else. So he cannot do anything about it, at least based on the policy they are pursuing, the flotation of the Naira. Now, the truth be told, the reckless flotation of the Naira by the Tinubu administration is at the center or at the root of the downfall of the Naira as we know it today. And the Tinubu administration thought that they are smart. They think that it was for nothing that the former government under President Muhammad Buhari and Central Bank Governor Emefiele, they thought it was for nothing that Emefiele ran away from flotation. Perhaps they forgot that Emefiele and Buhari, they floated the Naira in 2016. When they floated it for a few weeks and found out that it is a no-no, they ran away, they pick race. But Tinubu is digging in, despite the fact that there's virtually nothing they can do now to save the Naira, unless they return back to the MFLA era that they were trying to demarcate and demonize and make MFLA look like a fool. Unless they return back to that, the Naira is on a free fall. Already there were prediction by the Bloomberg that for the Naira to reach the value, its true value, the Naira must be exchanging at least 2,000 Naira to the dollar. Already it's heading to that direction. But unfortunately, from the outlook, the Naira is going to go beyond that. From all indication, it's going to go beyond the 2,000 mark that the Bloomberg of United States are projecting, that is where the Naira will reach the equilibrium, sort of. And then that will be its true value. Because Cardoso is claiming that Naira is undervalued. Well, maybe when they get to that 2,000 mark that Bloomberg expects it to get to, maybe that's when it will stabilize and you will get the true value of the Naira. But my hunch is telling me that it's going to pass that 2,000 mark even before the middle of this year. It's an unfortunate situation, but that is what is staring Nigerians and Nigeria on the face. Now, after the experience of 2016, Emefiele was interviewed by Bloomberg in 2019. And Emefiele, in that interview, warned that the Naira will tumble if the exchange market is floated. He told Bloomberg in 2019, Emefiele had warned that the Naira will tumble in a floated forex exchange regime. He told Bloomberg in a report that you can also go and Google it and read it, so that you know that what we're saying in this channel, we know what we're talking about. You can go and Google it and check it out. Because MFL had argued that multiple exchange rate had produced the most optimal results when compared with other emerging markets. So in that Bloomberg report in 2019, MFL warned that floating the Naira will lead to free fall in value. And that is what is happening. So if Cardoso is not aware of this, then he should go and read that interview that MFL granted Bloomberg in 2019. Whatever may be the case, I'm not here to exonerate MFL and Buhari. In fact, the APC administration generally messed up Nigerian economy. Because if you look at the situation of the country that they took over in 2015 and what it is today, it's a total mess. They made inflation at 9%. Today it's almost 30-something%. Naira was barely 197 Naira to the dollar. Look at what it is today. So I'm not exonerating Buhari and MFL. But it is sad. I never believed that there could be a government in which the Buhari people and the MFL could be seen to know better than that administration. It's that Buhari, and it's a sad commentary that one could look at the Buhari years and feel that things were better than under Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is the sad reality. Because the Tinubu administration don't want to learn. They don't want to learn. If they had wanted to learn, they would have studied the reason why MFL and Buhari ran away from flotation of the Naira when they tried it in 2016. But they didn't consult. Even by the time they started floating the Naira, it's like Bola Ahmed Tinubu had not even formed his own government. There was no Minister of Finance. There was virtually nothing. How do you run a country like that? Nobody to advise you, nobody to tell you the direction. You go about floating the Naira. Now look at where we are today. Until it will reach to the level where the Naira will become like the Zimbabwean dollar. It's a very sad commentary that in this matter now, that people will now later look at Buhari's and the MFL's management and feel that they are better than Bola Ahmed Tinubu, an accountant, the one they say knows the economy. MFL ran away from it. Buhari ran away from it. But Tinubu embraced it with full force, with his full chest. Despite what is happening, they are still digging in that they are on the right path. And they are boasting that they deserve Nobel Prize for the economic reforms that they are making. Under MFL, who was appointed in 2014, Nigeria had tightened capital control and closely managed the Naira's value. Because we know our history. We are an import-dependent nation. At that time, MFL had consistently said that it was the best way to manage inflation. Now, inflation has hit the roof. Forget about the figure that you are seeing by the National Bureau of Statistics. That figure is not the real figure of inflation. Go to the street you get to know the real figure of inflation in Nigeria. Go to the market. Go to the market right now. Go to the market today and compare the price of goods and services that you bought over the weekend to what you get it today, Wednesday, 31st of January 2024. You'll be shocked what you will get. That is an indication of the true state of inflation in Nigeria, and not the Jundi's figure that is coming out from National Bureau of Statistics in terms of the inflation rate in the country. The truth of the matter remains that this flotation has finished the Naira, and only God knows where it will end, because there are no indications that any positives will come out of it. In 2022, that was barely 6 years after MFL had tried flotation of the Naira, and his fingers and that of Buhari were burnt and they ran away from it. The World Bank had insisted that Nigeria Naira is too strong, it needs to be devalued and all that. It needs to be floated. They were complaining about multiple exchange rate and all kinds of things. MFL told them point blank. He told the IMF and World Bank that Nigeria will not float the Naira. At that time, MFL was speaking from experience. He had experienced flotation in 2016. And this World Bank people and IMF were telling MFL to float the Naira. MFL, at least he was able to tell them the truth, that Nigeria will not float the Naira, that it will not be floated again. They tried it in 2016. It didn't work. They said they will not do it. But my take is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu floated the Naira by June for self-preservation. It is part of his self-preservation strategy. What do I mean by this? You know that the election that brought Bola Ahmed Tinubu to power was hugely disputed. In fact, he doesn't have a popular mandate. Even if you are to go by the figure released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, you could see that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was declared president of Nigeria with only 8.7 million votes. That is the lowest votes that anybody had been made president of Nigeria since 1999. 8.7 million votes. Those who contested against him, Atiku Abubakar got 6.9 million votes. Peter Obi got 6.1 million votes. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso got 1.4 million votes. Now, if you tabulate these votes of Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, that's almost 15 million votes. That 15 million votes means these are votes that were against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Those votes were against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The 15 million votes that these three leaders garnered, that is, if you are to believe the INEC figure, because we know that that INEC figure is disputable, and that if that election was free and fair and the result tabulated properly, Peter Obi of the Labour Party was the winner of that election. But let us go with the one that INEC presented and the one that the Supreme Court has now confirmed as the duly elected president of Nigeria. You see that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was looking for legitimacy. So what he did, my understanding, is that to please the West, he floated the Naira so that even if he doesn't have too much support at home, he has international support. He knew that if he floated the Naira, he will be loved by IMF. He will be loved by World Bank. And of course, the Western powers that are behind these international financial institutions will warm up to him. And of course, they have done so. They have warmed up to him. They have even forgotten about the manner he emerged the president of Nigeria. They have warmed up to him because he is doing their bidding. So I see it as basically doing the bidding of the Western powers by agreeing to the IMF and World Bank demand that the Naira should be floated, which Emefiele rejected in 2022. And the Emefiele rejected it in 2022 because Emefiele had tried it in 2016 and found out that it's a minefield. That's it. And that is the same thing that happened to Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the ECOWAS region. When the coup in Niger happened, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was grandstanding to please the French people, to please France. That was why he was so quick to put sanctions, to cut electricity to Niger and all that. And all of that was to please France. And there was a publication in Le Monde that literally said that Tinubu should show one of the ways he should show his legitimacy, sort of, was to show his leadership in the Niger matter. There was a publication by Le Monde. If you go online, you can get it. So he rushed and didn't manage the Niger crisis. Today, what is the result? ECOWAS has been balkanized under his chairmanship. ECOWAS is in tatters. 3 members, founding members of the union, have left. And now they are telling them that they don't have to live like that they need to give notice and all the blah, blah, blahs. It doesn't make sense. So that is exactly what I suspect. And he cannot go back to allow the Naira to be protected the way Emefiele was protecting it. He can't go back now. But he needs to go back. That's the only solution. The solution to the state of the Naira now is to go back to the pre-flotation era. They have to swallow their pride and go back. They have to stand up to the Western powers and go back. If not, the Naira will soon be pushed around in a truck like they do in a wheelbarrow, like they do in Zimbabwe, because there's no way in the short run or even in the long run that this flotation under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will work. Already, they don't seem to even show any indication of working towards that. For instance, look at the budget of 2024. Look at how much billions and millions of dollars that are being wasted to buy SUVs for National Assembly lawmakers, for the presidency, for the wife of the presidency office. That is an indication that these people are not aware. They don't seem to realize the mess they have put the country. They don't seem to understand the situation of the country right now. Because if they do, they will not have the kind of budget we have right now for 2024. For instance, why do the National Assembly lawmakers, why do they need to have Toyota Jeeps when they could have a nursing Jeep, when they could have Peugeot assembled jeeps from Kaduna, which they could have purchased in Naira. Why do they need those jeeps imported from Japan and they paid in dollars? Why do they need that? If truly these people are serious about the state of the Naira, strengthening the Naira so that they can compete favorably with the other major currencies around the world, why didn't they buy made in Nigeria vehicles? All the things that that are inside that budget, how many of them are they going to buy from Nigeria? 2024 budget. Most of the things, items listed there, you can bet, I can bet my bottom dollar that they are going to buy them from abroad. They're going to import them. Until we have a leadership that will talk about production. Unfortunately, Nigerians voted for Peter Obi, but the system didn't allow him to emerge. He was the only one that had solution to the state of the Naira as we see it today. He was the only one in that election who was talking about moving the country from consumption to production, productivity, patronizing made in Nigeria goods. If Peter Obi was allowed to be the president that Nigerians wanted him to be, there is no way Peter Obi will not be using locally made vehicle right now in the presidential villa. I can tell you that for free. And that is the mindset you need if you really want to save the Naira. But that's not the mindset of the Tinubu administration at all. Even by the idea of the president going to France on a private visit is an indication that they don't care about the state of the Naira and the dollar, because millions of dollars of taxpayers' money will be spent for his comfort in that private visit. How many times have you seen any world leader go on a private visit like that? Have you ever seen Putin on a private visit to France? Have you heard about Putin on a private visit to Belgium? Have you heard about Biden on a private visit to Canada? Now, if you care about the nation, if you care about the state of the nation, those private visits are unnecessary waste of taxpayers' money. And that is how the dollars that could have been given to productive people were given to Bola Ahmed Tinubu to travel. Because that is part of the reason why dollar is scarce in Nigeria. Private visit. It's not even an official visit, private visit. So that's why the Naira is the way it is. That is why the Naira is the way it is. West. And then in this country, we have presidents who are looking why some schools are receiving payments in dollars, school fees within the country. National Assembly members, government officials, they stuff their pockets with dollars and not Naira. If truly we want the Naira to be strengthened, it got to be declared an illegality for anybody to spend any dollar in Nigeria. If you have a dollar, change it to Naira before you use it. There's nothing wrong in earning the dollar. But when you have it, change it to Naira. But not for you to use it as means of payment in supermarkets and other places. If truly we are serious. Now, because we're not doing all these things, the state of the Naira will continue to get worse. Sadly. I will not be surprised that by December 2024, $1 will be selling for 3,000 naira. I will not be surprised. We are heading towards that. I will not be surprised, because that is what we are getting from Tinubunomics. And it appears there is no light at the end of the tunnel. Now, how does the average Nigerian survive in this environment? How does the average Nigerian survive in this environment? It is because of this kind of situation and the insecurity in the country. That's why people who have the resources and still have the youthful energy are running away from Nigeria. The so-called jackpine. It's all about losing faith in the system, because the leaders themselves does not comport themselves as those in charge of a country in dire strait. They think that the country is swimming in millions. They think that Nigeria is a prosperous and wealthy country. So they spend anyhow they like. They travel anyhow they like. And this is where we are. So how does the average Nigerian survive it? How does the average worker survive this situation? How do you fix the minimum wage to keep pace with the value of the naira and the dollar, and then with the rate of inflation in the country? How do you do it? This is creating an atmosphere of economic crisis, social instability, and what have you. Today, no part of the country is safe. No parts, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where the president lives and does his business of running the country. No place is safe. The unemployment situation has gotten worse. Poverty has gotten worse. Inflation has gotten worse. All you need to do is go to the street and ask any Nigerian, are you better off today than you were before May 2015? You get an answer. And it appears that the hardship of Nigerians under the APC administration is increasing geometrically. Because if you go to the street and ask Nigerians, are you better off today than you were May 28, 2023? That's a day before Tinubu became president. You will see that they will tell you that they are better off by May 28, 2023 than they were today. That's a fact. That's a fact. Despite the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is beating his chest, claiming that he has done so much that he deserved the Guinness Book of World Record for the reforms he had brought. But the reforms that Bola Ahmed Tinubu had brought, instead of bringing relief to Nigerians, has brought enormous hardship. And as it were, Nigerians are helpless. And Tinubu himself is almost a hostage of the Western powers, in the sense that he has to do the dictates of the IMF and World Bank in the flotation of the Naira. Because if not for that, I don't think that there's any justification to continue the flotation of the Naira, given the fact that the results, both in the short run and in the long run, does not indicate that there is anything beneficial for Nigeria to get from it. It has made things worse for manufacturers, for importers, for everybody. It has increased social unrest. It has increased insecurity. It has increased criminality and what have you. It has exacerbated all our fault lines. Because when you have an atmosphere of atmosphere where the vast majority of the people are unhappy, distressed, they are just looking for any excuse to explode. They are looking for who to blame. They are looking for who to blame. Who it is his fault that the economy is the way it is. But the truth remains that Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC said that they were elected by Nigerian people. Now let us assume, without conceding, that was truly the outcome of the 2023 presidential election. But since the Supreme Court has confirmed them as being so, their responsibility is to get the job done. Their responsibility is to strengthen the Naira. Their responsibility is to increase productivity in the country. And nothing more, nothing less. Thank you for being part of this live program. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.